about time, coming into our freehold market just north of us here. And, you know, we've talked a lot about, I think Simcoe got hit early in terms of how they were doing. And one of our last videos, we were looking at like, oh, they're kind of down there. They should be leveling off now, but they continue to take another hit. But at least now, when we're looking at our year over year here in terms of median price, those guys in Simcoe are up just that little bit. They're up 3%. They're actually outpacing kind of what we saw there in York. So it's nice to see for Simcoe in particular, month over month, the decline. And I think that's just the weird start that we've had in January for this year. And I think a lot of that comes, of course, with the news and the uncertainty that we're seeing, that people aren't out there like they would have been otherwise. But to be up year over year 3% in the freehold market there in Simcoe, I think is a fantastic thing for the homeowners in Simcoe.
It's great. And the transaction volume, it's only down 3%, whereas in other areas we're seeing 10, 15%.
Yeah.
New listings volume only up 6.7%, where we're seeing, in York region, we're seeing, what was it, like 40%?
Yeah.
We 55% in new listings, so to be only at 6, so the underlying data here is telling me that we should see a strengthening market in the Simcoe area, because we're not getting a massive decrease in sales, and we're not getting a huge supply in new listings.
Yeah.
Terminations are only 10% instead of
Only
50.
10%.
So the pricing is more in line with where buyers want to be, I think, in the Simcoe market.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Month over month, that makes sense to me that it's down. We're just starting the new year. We've got our new listings are out. That makes sense. But again, looking year over year, interesting to see that it's only up 10% in comparison to other areas that we have looked at. Now, when we take a look at our active listings, again, we're in Simcoe, detached semis and towns. We're seeing a big bulk in that million to 125. This is the same price point we've seen in a lot of areas where the bulk of the homes are sitting right now. Now, the big difference here is the bulk of the sales are sitting from 700 to 800,000. Fantastic opportunity to be buying a freehold home in Simcoe, well below the $1,000,000, and that's where the bulk of the stuff is selling. It's interesting to see, again, coming across to median sale price. When we're looking at our locations, Tiny coming in at the top at 1,175,000. Bradford below that at 1,101,000. Springwater, Ramera, Barrie at 760, down the list there. So it's interesting to see where these opportunities and where the options are for people to get in at different price points in the Simcoe area.
I think the one red flag for the Simcoe area is there's still, on the high end, far too much supply in the higher end to what we're seeing in sales. 157
Yeah.
active listings, 2 million plus with only 10 sales. 1.25 to 1.5, 208 active listings, 60 sales. So it's a little bit stronger there. But then actually 900 to a million, 40 sales with 200 active listings. So on the higher side
Yeah.
in Simcoe, there's still a little bit of a challenge there to see if I think a lot of that supply's got to adjust their prices a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And interesting to see, like you said, the terminations being down in Simcoe in general, and our days on market year over year have come down as well. We're down that 11%. When we're looking at days on market month over month, it is creeping up just a little bit there. Okay, looking at new listings volume, interesting to see that this is not one of the ones that's up 50%, 40%, 30% compared to the same time last year. They're actually down in terms of new listing volume. So big change. And again, this is why you got to watch. Each area is different. The amount of supply, the amount of sales that are happening is different in each area. So you have to make sure you're watching it, because right now in Simcoe, we're not seeing that same amount of new listings hit the market. Coming into our actives, same thing. Not as high as some of our other years, which is great, because the story that you're hearing on the news and the story that we're seeing in a lot of other locations, highest active listings in a lot of areas, we're not seeing that for the freehold market there in Simcoe at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think sales is the anomaly here. It's we're starting out at the lowest
Yeah.
since 2018, but we're right on par with 2024. Um, I think looking at the sales activity, it's sluggish. It's sluggish.
Yep.
Um, but the one bright spot is that when it comes to new and active listings, that's slowing down compared to a lot of other areas.
Yeah. Yeah. Sales might be down, but our active listings in that aren't up as high as we're seeing in other areas. So it's not as tough of a situation for the sellers that are in there.